you sisters doing this Sabbath day? Brothers, how y'all doing? I'm going to help you brothers out today. And if the sisters will receive it, I'm going to help them out today. The class is meant to be taken and absorbed through self-examination. I'm going to help save you sisters from a world of pain. You brothers too. Let me help you out with what I mean. We're going to open up. What's the name of the class? Salvation for our sisters. That's the name of the day's class. Salvation for our sisters. You know why I want to call it that? Because a lot of our sisters are under the impression that because they are of the female gender, they get an automatic pass into the kingdom. And that's so far from the truth. So far from the truth. So far. Let's open up with 1 Timothy chapter 2. I just want the last verse. I want the last verse.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
Now, before we delve into that, who's reading for me?
Captain Emphasize, sir.
Where are you? Oh, you're right there. Give me Deuteronomy 28. Just go back there. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68.
The book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
And the Lord shall bring thee into slavery again with ships. Talking about them cargo slave ships. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Read.
And there,
when you get off the slave ships,
ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
We would be sold unto our enemies for
bondmen,
slave men,
and bondwomen,
slave women.
And no man shall buy you.
No man shall save us. What I want y'all to look at, it says for bondmen and bondwomen. We went into slavery together. We're going to be redeemed together. It ain't going to be no individualism in this nation, in our salvation. We're going to be delivered together. Just like we were enslaved together, shackled man to woman, woman to man, we're going to be delivered in freedom that same way. Give me Luke 1:71.
The book of Luke, chapter 1 and verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
So the salvation is from all our enemies, from the hand of all that hate us. So the male and the female is going to be saved. And this is what I give me that one in Galatians 3, I think it's verse 28. You know what I want? There's neither.
Yes, sir.
Give me that.
Book of Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek.
Now that's where the Christians like to stop. There's neither Jew nor Greek. They try to say that means everybody. Okay? But it's talking about the Israelites raised as Jews and the Israelites raised as Greeks. Go ahead.
There is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female.
Now that's what I wanted to get to right there. There's neither male nor female. Okay? Salvation is for us as a nation. That 1/3 is going to be saved as a nation, regardless if you're male or female. Go ahead.
For ye are all one in Christ Jesus.
See that? For ye all one in Christ Jesus. Was that it?
Yes, sir.
Now go back to 1 Timothy 2 where we began. And I want to start at verse 14 this time.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 14. And Adam was not deceived.
Adam was not deceived in the garden. So what does that mean? When Adam sinned, it was presumptuous sin. When we fell, it was because of presumptuous sin. It wasn't a mistake. Eve didn't trick him. It says he was not deceived. Read it again.
And Adam was not deceived, but the woman, being deceived, was in the transgression.
But the woman, she was deceived. She was tricked. by Satan. And it brings me to this point. We got a few emails today, what Deacon Lava did, with sisters who, we got a few, New York and over here in Atlanta, North Carolina, with sisters who don't know how to pick a husband, has illegitimate children, but she's expert in scriptures. Going to tell us, oh, I think we're celebrating, here's one sister, we're celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles wrong. That's sister number one. Sister number two calls and says, the holy days is meant to be from sun up, sunrise to sunrise. We still waiting on them scriptures, right? Yeah. So, sister, you've made a wreck of your life. You've wrecked your life. You're looking for healing, but now you want to call us and tell us what scriptures mean. Are you kidding me? What's wrong with this picture? What is wrong with this picture? And some of you brothers will get with sisters like that. The wrecked sisters. That's what I'm going to start calling them, the wrecked sisters. Read it.
Yeah, Bishop, you know, man, why their statement, they're saying, you know, man, how they believe in it when they tell you check the video out.
Yeah.
Why would you call me? Why would you text me talking about check this video out about this sunwise to sunwise? Keep your video to yourself.
All over the place, all over the place. And this is what, there's a scripture where it says, where no hedge is, the possession is what? Spoiled. Meaning she has there's no man in her life to say, do this, do that. Don't do that. She's all over the place. Oh, I want to go over here, I'm here, and I know this. Right. No. Look at all them 6 kids with 4 different baby daddies. Just shut the hell up and sit down. Right. Read that again, Captain.
And Adam was not deceived.
So again, Adam was not. This is Paul speaking to Timothy to tell us Adam was not deceived in this work. Go ahead.
But the woman, being deceived, was in the transgression.
She was deceived. This is why when you read in the Testament, she went from being under her father to being under who? Her husband. Who didn't know that? Raise your hand over here. Who didn't know that? See, in today's society, you have something called women's lib, where the sisters run around and do whatever the hell they want. They leave their daddy's house at the age of 13, some of them at 16. They live their life like gangbusters. Yeah. I do whatever the hell I want. Them's the ones with all them kids and all them baby daddies. Then they want to come in Israel and say, no, the scripture's wrong, brother. I have the understanding. Shut the hell up and sit down. Read that again.
And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression.
She was deceived in the transgression. She's looking at white man lies. He goes, sister, I don't think we're Israelites. I think we're Hamites. Well, sister, where did you get that from? I was watching a documentary with John Hagee. Oh, okay. Well, sister, this conversation has ended now. You stay with John Hagee Jr. Is that his name? The little fat man from Texas? You stay with him. The rest of us, we going kingdom building. Okay. Go ahead, read.
Notwithstanding.
Now it says, notwithstanding, watch this.
She shall be saved in childbearing.
I want to pause right there. She shall be saved in childbearing. Now the sister with the 6 illegitimate kids jumps up again. So I'm automatically saved. Look at all these kids I got. That's not what it's talking about, sister. This is why the Bible talks about silly women. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in child. What does that mean? Just pop out a baby? No. Now you got to go back to Genesis 3. Let's go back to Genesis 3. Because remember, he was talking about Adam, right? Paul was just talking about Adam and Eve. So therefore, he gave us a reference point. Meaning, let's go back to Genesis 3 with Adam and Eve. Genesis 3. And let's read verse 16 about her and children.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children.
Why? Because she was disobedient to the husband that was over her, which was Adam. Go ahead. So therefore, child pains, menstrual pains, pain, which is meant to make them remember and say, you know what? I'm not supposed to be my own woman. my own man, so to speak. I'm supposed to be in order with the order God put me in as a wife. Go ahead.
In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
When it says your desire shall be to your husband, like it says in Corinthians, where it says, if she will learn anything, meaning if she desires understanding, where is she supposed to get it from, brothers? Her husband. Not John Hagee Jr., not Creflo Dollar. That's where the deception comes in. But you know what she does? I'm not listening to my husband. He's a nigger. Then she's going to call us, or call me, Bishop, I want to talk to you about my husband. He's telling me A, B, and C. And I'm saying, well, sister, am I your husband? No. Then do what your husband says. Is he telling you to sell crack on the corner? No. Is he telling you to sell your behind out there in the street? No. What is he telling you to do that's so awful? He's telling me to be silent and to make sure the house is happy. What's wrong? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I don't know. I just need to hear it from you. Click! And I hang up the phone. Don't call me. Read that again.
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
Come on.
And he shall rule over thee.
Now, sister gets the black highlighter and crosses that part out. He shall rule over. Oh no! See, I don't like that part right there. When sisters refuse these scriptures, they're not going to be saved. You're not going to be saved. Let's go back to 1 Timothy 2:15 now.
The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 15. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
Now we have the reference point about childbearing. That's Genesis 3:16. In sorrow shall she bring forth children. Why? Because she disobeyed her husband. And all these women have pain when they have babies. Tell them why. Can I have an epidural?
Right.
Can you just give me 3 epidurals? I got too much pain. Well, it's supposed to remind you about what your foremama did. Oh, I don't want that. Read it again.
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
If
They continue in faith.
Stop. If. The word if is a little word. It means there's a possibility she might not be saved. It's a 50-50 chance for her. And he gives you the criteria. It says she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith. Faith in what? Faith in Christ. Go ahead.
And charity.
Charity. Oh, charity, charity. Love thy neighbor as you love yourself. That's charity. How many times do we have sisters arguing, getting in cat fights with one another? New York, it almost leads to fist fights with these women. Not all of them. I'm not saying all of them. I'm just giving certain instances that I'm aware of. Almost into a fist fight or slap boxing contest with the women in the kitchen or whatever they're doing. One wants something made, the other one says, okay, she takes the money and won't do it. And then thinks the sister's wrong, who checks her on it. Read that again.
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing.
That's that family situation right there. Go ahead.
If they continue in faith.
Faith in Christ.
And charity.
Charity, that's loving them neighbor as they love themselves.
And holiness.
And you ever want to know why some, not all, some sisters are mean-spirited? I know brothers be asking, why is she so mean? You ever see on the TV, and like when they portray black women, she's always like a pit bull.
Right.
She's never dainty and meek. I'm talking television.
You know what's so messed up about that point you're bringing? Some women will look at that and think that that's an actual attribute to womanhood. Call her, you look at that sickness and say, that's a strong type of black woman. This world is upside down. The people's heads are upside down. It's just ridiculous, the kind of thinking. Everything is out of course.
A strong black woman is like our foremother Judith, our foremother Sarah, our foremother Esther. Those are the three that popped in my mind this quick. Those are strong black women. Oh, Shifra and Poor, how could I forget them? How could those are strong? Now, when you got that mean-spirited, mean-mugging sister, that's a demon. And when it says charity, love your neighbor as you love yourself, if she don't love herself, what makes you think she's going to love you? This is why when some of them look at you, they mean-mugging. What? But then when Esau comes, hi, hi. But when you come around, you black nigga, the hell is this? That's the mentality. Not all the sisters, but some. Some. Read it again.
Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing, if they continue in faith and charity and holiness.
Holiness. Give me that precept for holiness in Romans 7. What is that holiness? Romans 7 and 12. Thank you.
The book of Romans chapter 7 verse 12.
We're going here to explain holiness.
Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just and good.
So the law and the commandment is holy. So now when we go back to 1 Timothy 2, we have a better understanding of what Paul means by she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness, meaning abiding and applying God's laws and commandments. Go ahead.
That was the last verse, sir.
No, you didn't finish the last word.
Oh, I'm sorry. And holiness with sobriety.
Sobriety. Let's look that word up, sobriety. Okay. I looked it up. The state of being sober. Wow. Here go the synonyms for sobriety. Seriousness. I'm going to just pull out some easy words. Gravity, which means serious. Dignity. Level-headedness. Common sense. Pragmatism, which is common sense. Practicality. Self-control. Self-restraint. Wow. So she's going to be saved with, it says holiness with sobriety, meaning she got to take this truth serious. She got to have dignity in this truth. She must have common sense. Common sense says not to get with a brother who doesn't have a job. That's what common sense says. But growing up in America, she looks at the size of his shoes and says, I want that brother. Not only is he cute, he has big feet. She doesn't have common sense. Was it last year? Yes, last year, New York. Now, y'all got security driving around, right? Yep. Last year, Feast of Tabernacles. You would think this would be unheard of. But at night, brother got his tent over here, sister got her tent over there. People are talking, walking around. What do you hear? Ooh, ah, ooh, ooh, ah, ah, ah. What the hell's going on in here? What is going on here during the Feast of Tabernacles? She decides to let Brother John, who doesn't have a job, doesn't live with his mama, creep into her tent and have sex with her. While people, what is that called voyeurism? I don't know. I'm not sure. If people around me talk, I'm not doing nothing. And I hear any talk. You know how you married men know. You know when the baby get up, daddy, mom, oh, everything freeze. You're like this. I don't know about y'all, but that's I can't do that. Daddy, what's going on? What you do? Ah, shut up! So here you are doing the Feast of Tabernacles. You got
my mama.
Yeah. You got hundreds of people around your tent talking, and these two is in the tent, getting busy. This is crazy. I'm like, oh. So this sister doesn't have common sense. She's added to her collection of children from baby daddy number 3 now. Wow. She's a collector. So now, I want to discuss, because some of you, how many brothers were single again? Okay, I'll see them hands up there. How many sisters were single again? Okay, not that many. All right. No, I know there's more than that, because a lot of you was up on stage. I'm going to give y'all the 7 attributes of the Proverbs 31 woman. It's going to help the sisters and it's going to help you brothers. There's 7 attributes of the Proverbs 31 woman. Give me Proverbs 31. I want to start with verse 1 before I go to point 1. Captain Amaziah.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 31 and verse 1. The words of King Lemuel,
That was a nickname for King Solomon. Go ahead.
the prophecy that his mother taught him.
Now, the reason I wanted that because his mother is the one going through Proverbs 31. Like we read, it says the woman must be holy with sobriety, meaning practical, pragmatic. Solomon's mother, in time, because in the beginning she was kind of silly Bathsheba, but later on she got herself together. Remember, I'm going to call her what? She was the hole in the roof. The married woman, I got to call her like it. She was the hole in the roof. When David called, she knows she was married. She went there anyway. But she got herself together. And now she's teaching her son Solomon this thing. One of the first lessons about women, she teaches Solomon, which is teaching us. So sisters, oh, women don't teach nothing. Yes, the women did teach. But they were in order when they taught. They taught their children, and they taught the sisters. But some of y'all know that already. I'm not going to go there. Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Stop. The first thing, brothers, that y'all need. Are you married? You. Okay. Who's not married in that row right there? Okay, y'all gonna be my point of contact. I'm gonna look right there at you two. The first thing about a virtuous woman, you ain't gonna find her on the bus, on the train, walking the streets. You have to search for her. Y'all know what I'm saying? You gotta look for her. She ain't just out in the open. Read it again.
Who can find a virtuous woman?
Give me Proverbs 18:22 as a precept for verse 10.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 22. Whoso findeth a wife, findeth a good thing.
You see that word? Find. You have to find her. She's not just there. You gotta pray and search. Send up them prayers, brothers, and ask the Lord to help guide you. Here we got the brother in New York. He's on the train. He sees the pretty sister sitting across from him with her jeans, popping her gum. He says, that is a virtuous woman. That's a virtuous woman? No, you like the breastises and the hips. That's what you like. She's not virtuous. What does the brother do? I'm going to make her my wife. Now he's catching hell upon hell upon hell. And you know what these women do, some of them? Not these righteous women here, though. She says, I'm going to wait to have one baby. Then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to divorce him. Then I'm going to take you to court. Some of y'all, how many of y'all paying child support? Raise your hand. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. See that? See that? That was you. That was you. Read that again.
Bishop, there was a brother here who did that. He found a sister on the bus. Remember? He found a sister on the bus. He made her his wife. And then remember he locked her in the closet and put the sofa behind the closet.
Oh,
door?
yes. Yes, I forgot about that, brother.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh.
He locked her in the closet. He took the sofa, he put it behind the door and he tell her, you're not getting out of here.
Wow, that's unlawful imprisonment. You could go to jail for that. Wow.
You know what gets me? When classes like this come up, and the importance of this particular subject, and we'll teach these classes. This is not the first time you taught this, Bishop.
Right.
We've had to teach this subject many times. And there are still examples from those same brothers and sisters that sit right out in front of us that do the same dumb, stupid stuff. And it is as if we're just up here just to be doing this. This is work involved in trying to save your behinds from destruction. And it's like people taking it lightly.
Exactly. So, now I do appreciate your story, but I want to stay on now. I don't want to deal with them today. Can we stay with them? So now, getting back to them. New York City, sister says to her husband, she says, he comes home from work, he works 16 hours, you know. She says, babe, he says, yeah, hon. She says, well, when you get settled in, we have not had sex in about 3 months. He goes, now you know when you make that sound for your wife, there's a problem. He says, all right, give me a few minutes, I'm tired. So he goes to sleep. She gets her chair next to the bed and she just watches him. That's y'all stop sleeping. I'll be your wife. She's just looking at him. She has her watch. 2 minutes go by, 5 minutes go by, 10 minutes go by.
He's in dreamland.
He's in dreamland, REM sleep.
I'm in dreamland now.
30 minutes go by, 40 minutes, 50. Now she's huffing and puffing. She's getting mad. So she goes, she balls up her fists and begins to pound him in the face. I don't know about y'all. That don't arouse me. Does that excite you, brothers? Getting beat in your face to wake up? But this is what the alleged virtuous woman, of course she's a virtuous woman. I don't remember reading that. To wake your husband up, punch him in the face. So she's going to give us a call. She says, ring, ring, ring. Hello. Sister, this is such a virtuous woman. I said, oh, sister's a virtuous woman. How you doing, sister? She's not doing okay, Bishop. Can you bail me out of jail? I said, bail you out of what? Sister virtuous woman, where you at? I'm in jail. Why are you in jail? I woke my husband up.
No.
You see that? They don't tell the full story. Okay. How did you wake him up? I just punched him in the face. How many times did you punch him in the face? 20 times. There was blood on the floor. And I said, was it with your rings that you wear? With my rings. So the dude had holes all in his face. And he was such a mama's boy. He ran to 911. I never thought I'd hear a day when a man ran to 911 for his wife. But the brother did. And got her locked up. I said, sister, I think you need to take it easy and just spend a few days there. That's what I did. I said, you need to spend a few days there. See, women get shocked, but I'm a female, I'm a woman. See, they can, what's it called? Help me out here. Huh? I like manipulating, but something else. One moment they want to be masculine and aggressive when it suits them. But now she in jail, she want to be feminine. What is it? Bipolar. That's what she is. She bipolar. Masculine one moment, feminine the next. She can pick and choose at her discretion. So now she's in jail with a hello. So read that again, Kat.
Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
See that? Whoso findeth a wife. So you have to search for her. You got to pray for her. Go ahead.
And obtaineth favor of the Lord.
Now watch this. Give me 1 John 3 and 22.
The book of 1 John chapter 3, verse 22.
Wait. I'm not as fast as you, Captain.
Yes, sir.
Let me just... Captain Amazing, can you just bear with me? You know there's a sister that wrote us in New York, cursing everybody out, but she likes Captain Shemaiah. She says, he's thick gravy to me. We were like, thick gravy? What the I couldn't stop laughing with that email. Oh, he got a new name now. I was like, what the hell is this? So read that 1 John 3:22.
Yes, sir. 1 John chapter 3, verse 22. And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight.
Now that's a heavy verse, and it's very important. You brothers that talk about you want that virtuous woman, you want a good thing. It says, whatsoever we ask, the word ask translates to pray for. You have to pray to the Lord for it. Then it says, we receive them. Now remember, it says in Genesis, it is not good that man should be alone. Here the brother going to tell me, I don't need no woman. I'm like Paul. I said, you're like Paul. He says, yes, I don't have a desire for women. I said, do you look at porn? Yes. Are you whacking off? Yes. I said, you ain't no damn Paul. Shut the hell up and pray for a woman. You nasty brother. You're going to say you Paul. Read that again. 1 John 3:22.
And whatsoever we ask, we receive of him.
So what you're to be asking for is a virtuous wife. A woman with the qualities to become, how about I word it like that one? A virtuous wife. Whatsoever we ask, we receive of him because what?
Because we keep his commandments.
See, that's the stipulation in prayer. You want something, you want God to do something for you, it says he'll do it only because you keep the commandments. So you commandment breaker, men and women, because likewise on that, she said, I want a good husband. Well, you better be praying for him and keeping the commandments. Then the Lord going to honor that prayer. Go ahead.
And do those things that are pleasing in his sight.
And do those things that are pleasing in his sight. I'm going to tell you, I told you last night. Some of you brothers, you in the IUIC camp, you want the sister who don't help nobody. She could care less. She don't help the older sisters. When they have Titus 2, she's never there. You see her always by herself or in a gaggle of women. You know what a gaggle is? Like a gaggle of geese. Always talking about people. You want that sister. She looked like Sasha Fierce. You're right, she does look like Sasha Fierce. And she's going to give you Sasha hell when you marry her. And then you're going to come up to the table, wanting counsel, and we're going to say, no, bro, you handle that. We told you don't marry her. We told you that. Or the sister. She wants the brother who don't go to camp. He just came in last month, but he's cute. She wants him. Sister, we don't know this dude. He's been with us a short time. Oh, he's cute. Okay, you do what you want to do then. Back to Proverbs. So again, so the first thing about a virtuous woman, you have to pray for her and search for her. Oh, let me give you another tip, brothers. Let me give you searching for her. Some of these sisters have friends. We're going to get into friends in a little bit, but some of these sisters got friends. If you're interested in a sister, or vice versa, we can tell you what we see about her, but all the sisters can tell you. But how about talk to her circle of friends? See what she's like. Not while she's there. I mean, she ain't around. You talk to the friends, you see she always talk to sister such and such. And ask sister such, what is she like? You want to get the inside scoop on her. But make sure she ain't that jealous sister. That'd be a mistake, because she wants you too. Proverbs 31:10 again.
The book of Proverbs chapter 31 verse 10. Who can find a virtuous woman?
Who can find her? Go ahead.
For her price is far above rubies.
What verse is that?
Verse 10, sir.
Okay, is that the whole verse?
Yes, sir.
Okay, her price is far above rubies. Meaning she's of great value. Great value. Solomon's mama is going to explain the next qualities about her. Verses 11 through 15, write this down. Trustworthy. So verse 10 is pray and search. Verses 11 through 15 we're about to read goes into she's trustworthy. Verse 11.
Verse 11. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her.
There you go. Some of you brothers, I'm going to give you an example. True story. Is it Arizona? Yes, Arizona. Arizona camp. Brother says, my wife is at home. Sabbath comes around, his wife says, oh, I don't feel good today. Sabbath the next week, Sabbath, oh, I don't feel good today. Third Sabbath, I don't feel good today. Now, Sunday through Friday, she's fine. She's good, she's here, she's there, all over the place. But when the Sabbath comes, I don't feel good today. Red flag. So now, the fifth Sabbath comes, and she don't feel good again. So he goes home. He said, I don't know. He goes home. And there's a brother, a dude, I'll just say a dude, outside like this, in front of the house. He's looking around.
Yeah.
He says, hey, you lost? You need help with something? So the dude says to the brother, oh, I'm looking for an address, such and such. He said, oh, that's down the road down there. He comes in the house, wife's in bed. She says, yeah, hey, hon, I don't feel good. I don't know what it is. I just don't feel good. All right. Next week, she goes, I don't feel good. This is number 6 Sabbath. I don't feel good. So now the brother's in class. He's like, I gotta go home. I'm going home. He goes home. He opens the door.
Minority reports.
Yeah, like Minority Report. The baby's in the what's the walker? No, the walker. The baby's in the walker. He's looking for the wife's in the bedroom. Hey, hon, you alright? Oh, I'm all right. He said, I smell something funny in here. It smells like crack. Now, then he looks, there's a crack pipe right there. What the hell are you doing? Smoking, and the baby's right there. True story. The baby's right there. Are you crazy, woman? So she says, well, if you treated me better, I wouldn't be feeling like this and that. I need crack to calm down. You need crack to calm down. So he's cursing her out. He's yelling. He's arguing. He's yelling. He's arguing. 10 minutes go by. 15 minutes go by. 20 minutes go by. Then there's a movement in the bedroom.
No.
He comes from under the bed.
The Negro comes from under the bed. He couldn't wait under the bed no more. Who the hell are you? Now, the dude's putting his clothes on. He goes, hey, wait. You the same dude from last week. That was lost. He's putting the clothes on. I wasn't lost. You lost. He on crack. She on crack. He running out the house in his underoos.
Yeah.
And there's a video. We got the video. We got the video.
The brother filmed it. He said
filmed it.
something ain't right. Let me get my recorder and catch this evil.
So now you're going, Lord's Wick is using in court to get his baby. But we're going to see. That's when we ain't show it to you. I'm waiting till the case is done. Then I'm going to show y'all the video. Funny video. So a virtuous woman is a trustworthy woman. If you're sitting around always wondering what your wife is doing, that's why some of you don't want your wife to work. It ain't that you make enough money to support her. You don't trust her when she goes to work on her own. Read that again.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her.
And you know what? You sisters, don't come home talking about, when I went to work today, all the men said how lovely I look. Don't do that. Well, you know what that does? That puts spirits on the bag. Like, why is she telling me that? It's either, now her excuse will be, you don't tell me how nice I look. That's a lie. That's to put spirit. I'm going to give you a true story, New York City. Sister goes home and says, my manager took my hand and began to rub it in the palm. You ever know that thing when they rub the finger in the palm of the hand? So the brother calls me mad. Bishop, I'm going down to the job. I'm going to beat his. I can't tell you the words he said. I said, brother, don't do that. Because you know what? You messed up. You run down to the job and get beat up. And there's cameras too. I said, not only might you get beat up because you're not the biggest brother. He says, yeah, but I got the heart of a lion. I said, all right. All right, brother. But when he balls his fist, he punched like this. I said, you don't need to go fight nobody. I said, so tell me the story again. Yeah, this nigga grabbed my wife's hand and rubbed the back. I said, did she stand there and allow him to rub the palm of her hand? I said, let her hands allow. I said, if she's in this truth, she's supposed to put that Negro in check. That's her job. The hell is this? Read it again.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her.
The heart of a husband doth safely trust in her. Go ahead.
So that he shall have no need of spoil.
That spoil's going into sexual, give me the word.
The nigga under the bed.
The nigga under the bed. That's what they're going. You don't have no need of that. You ain't worried about that. So that's a quality a virtuous woman must have. She's trustworthy. Go ahead.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
She has the qualities of being a good wife. She's only going to do good for him. Even if y'all have an argument. Like, remember Abigail? Remember when David was going to kill her husband? And she said, my husband's name is Nabal, which means fool. She said, but my Lord, please have mercy on my husband. She looked out for him. Because he didn't even know David was coming to kill him. Because he was is the word stingy, not stingy. What's that word?
Churlish.
Churlish. He didn't want to help him. So she stepped out for her husband. Read that again.
She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
Read.
She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands.
You don't got to yell at her to work. She's about the household. She's about the family. She's about her business. Go ahead.
She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar.
She's going to go find the best food for her family. She ain't buying all these chemical processed things. Here you got some sisters. I'm going to tell you, sisters, you know how some of you are. You'll see a report that says, for example, white sugar is processed sugar, and it's not as good as brown sugar. Is there anybody hear that? Yeah. You know what she does? Well, the white sugar is right at the store across the street. The brown sugar is too far. It's like a mile down. I don't think I want to get that for the family. So she feeds her family processed foods and sugars. They want to know why everybody in the house is sick. Her mindset ain't she ain't fully there yet. Read it again.
She is like the merchant's ships. She bringeth her food from afar.
She brings her food from afar, and she gets the best quality. She don't care how far it is, she got to go. She'll go to the white people section. Go ahead.
She riseth also while it is yet night.
It's still dark, it's twilight. She gets up early. Why? Read.
And giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maids.
Now, they all want maidens, but, you know, I remember my wife, she was pregnant. She says, I think I need a maid. I said, okay. She said, no, let me pick the maid. I said, no, because you're going to get some old hairy lip monstrosity out there. You ain't getting no maid. You know that damn maid. All these sisters we got around here. Read that again.
She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens.
So she takes care. Before she rise up, before she get up early to do her business, she makes sure the food is provided for the house. Okay, so now, that was verse 11 through 15. Give me the precept, Sirach 26:26. Good.
You know what else that 15th verse is saying? That means she doesn't have time for foolishness. If she's rising up early to make sure that things are handled, she's not idle. She's not into foolishness. She's got her mind on her business, meaning to take care of her household.
Sirach chapter 26, verse 26. A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all.
See that? That's that woman that's trustworthy. She honors you. She ain't going to do nothing to embarrass you. She ain't going to say nothing to embarrass you. Oh, I got a story. Let me be careful with this story because they sitting right here. So let me think how I want to word this one. Okay. Husband and wife gets into an argument. The wife is on the cooking. What is it called? The cooking department, right? Is that what it's called? The cooking committee. She makes some rice. This was Wednesday. She made the rice on Wednesday. She left it on the counter until Saturday. Remember, she had an argument with her husband. She's mad. She brings, you know what I'm talking about. 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 She brings the rice. Shalom, brothers. Why? And you know the low bow. I'm very suspect with the low bow sisters. The little bow, I like that. Them low bows, she's up to something. Watch out. So she gave the lowest bow where her head touched her knees. That's how low she bent over. Then she puts the rice out for us. And Deacon I don't eat anything. He just eat. And he don't gain no weight. He don't gain no weight. So I take a bite. I said, wait. I said, wait. Stop. Don't eat. Something ain't right with the rice. Something is wrong. I said, I ain't done. He goes, no, this rice tastes good. I said, no, stop. You're going to get sick. Oh, my stomach went up. I ran to the bathroom and came back. I said, Dishwasher tastes old as hell. I said, sister, when did you make dishwasher? She goes, Wednesday. Did you refrigerate it? She says, no, I left it on the counter. And you thought that was right? She said, well, my husband got on my nerves, so I didn't want to put it away. Oh, I'll drop the F-bomb. Oh, I couldn't take it. You want to poison the whole congregation because you mad at your husband. Then go to next, you want to bring vegetables. You know when you get vegetables? What are you supposed to do when you get them from the store? What do you do first thing? Oh, no, not her. She puts, here's the salad, and there's dirt, grains on. What the hell? See, this is why we got to be real particular with the sisters in the kitchen. If they're in a bad mood, say, no, sister, you can go have a seat. The food got to be made in love. Am I right? Am I right? If they got an attitude, they're going to poison you. Telling you. Read that again.
A woman that honoreth her husband shall be judged wise of all.
A woman that honors her husband shall be judged wise of all. Go ahead.
But she that dishonoreth him in her pride
But she got an attitude in her pride. She dishonors him. Go ahead.
shall be counted ungodly of all.
That's an ungodly woman right there. Ungodly. Let's go back to Proverbs 31. Now, verse 16 through 19. Now, all the verses are interchangeable. This is how I broke it down. Verse 16 to 19, she goes into how much of a hard worker she is. Okay? Give me that.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse 16. She considereth a field and buyeth it.
Oh, that's a quality that all women don't have. So this, in order to consider a field, so she has, it's either A, her husband gave her money, or B, she was able to save. I like that one. She was able to save the money she had. She considers a field and buyeth it. So she got some smarts. She know how to deal with money and finances. She know what's going to be for the betterment, not detriment, the betterment of her family. She said, I'm going to buy this plot of land right here for my family. Read that again.
She considereth a field and buyeth it. With the fruit of her hands,
With the fruit of her hands, go ahead.
she planteth a vineyard.
She plants a vineyard. Okay. Go ahead.
She girdeth her loins with strength, and strengtheneth her arms. She perceiveth that her merchandise is good.
So she is so dedicated with the work she does. She perceives and understands. She knows her worth. She knows her worth. That's why it says, read that part again.
She perceiveth that her merchandise is good.
She know that what she put her hands to is worthwhile. She said, I know I'm of value. I know I'm smart, I'm educated, I could do this, I could do that. What I do for my family is top notch. What verse was that?
Verse 18.
Go ahead.
Her candle goeth not out by night.
Her candle goeth not out by night. So she stays up kind of late. Go ahead.
She laid her hands to the spindle,
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
and her hands hold the distaff.
That's going to, she knows she can, that's sewing, clothing, whether it's bed, what is it called? Blankets, quilts, things of that nature. What verse was that?
19, sir.
Now, when you finish 19,
Yes, sir.
give me Acts 16:14.
The book of Acts chapter 16, verse 14. And a certain woman named Lydia, a seller of purple of the city of Thyatira, which worshiped God, heard us.
So what we want is that part. She was a seller of purple. So women did work in the Bible. She had a family. She was out working for her family. Now, it's good if sisters ain't got to work. That's a good thing, but we're going to touch on that in a moment. But until that point, right now, most of us work in two-family income homes where the wife has to go out to work. Okay, back to Proverbs 31. And we're in verse 20. Now, verse 20 is very important.
Proverbs chapter 31.
And verse 20, I got it separated by itself like verse 10, I separated. Because it's saying something so important. It says, she helps the needy of her people. Read that verse.
She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy.
Now that's talking about in the body. Those brothers and sisters that believe this virtuous woman It says, she what? Read it again.
She stretcheth out her hand to the poor.
She helps the poor in the congregation. She helps the poor of her people. Go ahead.
Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy.
So not only does the money she make, she uses to help her family, but she looks out for others in the congregation, in the nation of Israel, who's in need. Some sisters, not all, and you sisters, you know who you are, who won't help a soul. She don't help you. She don't help her husband. She don't help the brother, sister near her. She help nobody but herself. She's, what's that word called? Selfish. That self-centered me. It's all about her. That's not a virtuous quality, to be selfish. You don't help nobody. Here, she got a job. She don't, not only does she not help you or anybody, she don't donate, she give no alms. She just sit there, how's my makeup? How's my hair? That's a selfish sister. And you sisters, you know who you are. You got a job and don't help nobody. Read it again.
She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy.
Look at, give me the precept for that in 1 Timothy 5 and 10. Sisters with jobs that don't give no alms. Wow! You know who you are. You women, this is self-exam. Let me examine myself. When was the last, now I know I got a job. I take care of my family, but I don't give a damn about nobody else. That's still not a virtuous quality. Read that.
1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 10. Well reported of.
Now this is for a widow that the church was meant to look after. It says the first quality, because she was a virtuous woman. The woman in 1 Timothy 5 and 10 that Cap's reading about, she's a virtuous woman. She's a widow now. She's old. She's the age of 60 and up. Read it again.
Well reported of.
She's well reported of. She has a good report in the body. Go ahead.
For good works.
For what?
For good works.
She has good works in the body. Go ahead.
If she have brought up children.
It says she raised a family.
If she have lodged strangers.
She took care of strangers, meaning that's brothers and sisters she may not know anybody who come from other states. She look out for them. Go ahead.
If she have washed If she have washed the saints' feet.
She looked out for the body, saying the same thing. Go ahead.
If she have relieved the afflicted.
If she have relieved the afflicted. That's those in need. She helped the needy who's been afflicted in poverty or sickness, whatever it is. She looks out. Was that the whole verse?
No, sir.
Go ahead.
If she have diligently followed every good work.
If she has diligently followed every good. So I heard brothers say, I heard sisters, these feminists say the Bible don't instruct women. Well, the Bible talks about women. You just got to sit down and read. So it says if she what?
It says if she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, if she have washed the saints' feet, if she have relieved the afflicted, if she have diligently followed every good work.
That's a virtuous woman. That's it. Read on. Let me hear the next one.
Verse 11. But the younger widows refuse.
So now Paul says, them young women whose husbands may have died, he said, don't take care of them. Why? Go ahead.
For when they have begun to wax wanton against Christ.
Oh, see that part right there? I know that might be kind of difficult. I'm going to help you out. At the age of 60, most women don't have a desire to get married again. They did that. And they ain't having no more kids. So they dedicated their lives to the Lord. That's what this woman, the true women did. Two virtuous women. Paul says, don't take care of the younger widows in the church. That's not the body's job to take care of her. It says why? Because she'll wax wanton against Christ. And what?
They will marry.
They'll go look for a man. Because they still got that itch. They got a scratch. Was that it?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Read on.
Having damnation, because they have cast off their first faith.
So meaning, he said, don't accept them in the state of the widowhood. Don't accept them. Let her get married and get a husband. Let her do that. So when we go back now to Proverbs 31, what verse are we at?
We are at verse
21, right?
21, yes, sir.
Yeah, now 21 through 25, write this down. Knows how to dress.
Verse.
And looks for a man in reputation. That's what I like. I want that part right there. Yeah. 1 Timothy, read it. Just read it.
Proverbs 31, verse 21. She is not afraid of the snow for her household. For all her household are clothed with scarlet.
Go ahead.
She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple.
You know, I heard a brother say when the sisters in IUIC are not supposed to wear purple. I'm like, the virtuous women in the Bible, it says her clothing is silk and purple. So what Bible are you reading? Oh, numbskull. Go ahead.
Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land.
Brothers, let me tell you something about the virtuous woman. The women who are on, I'll say it like this, who are on the road to virtue. Can I say, is virtuosity a word? Yes. I thought I made that up. I didn't make that word up. The women that's trying to become that virtuous woman, 9 times out of 10, she don't want any old brother. I'm going to say it again. She don't want any old brother. She wants a brother who's laboring in the truth, who has a name, who has a reputation, who has a rep. Is that right? Yep. That's what they want. Be careful, brother, when the sister wants you, and you know you have no rep in Israel. You don't do nothing in Israel, but for some reason she wants you. You need to stop and go, She'll flatter you and make you think you are God's gift on earth. You better take a seat back and go, She'll make you think you're the most handsome man on earth. There was a saying I saw the other day. Let me look for it. I gotta find it. Bear with me a second. I'm gonna find it in a second. That's right here. I showed it to Lava this morning. Oh, here it goes. It says, if your woman isn't a revolutionary, she will persuade you to be a slave. Let me say it again. If your woman is not revolutionary, she will persuade you to be a slave. Now, Asada Shakur says something very similar to that. That's what I think comes from her. So, she looks for the brother who ain't about nothing. You don't go to camp. And you've been in the truth 8 years, but your rank is still brother. You know who you are. But she wants you. She knows you got a job. Her job is to get you. And then late at night, you know, baby, I think we should go over here and do something else. Her job is to pull brothers like you out the truth. That's why she wants you with no reputation in the body. Read that verse again.
Her husband is known in the gates.
That's what a virtuous woman wants. Her husband is known. Everybody know her husband. But that gainsaying, no good, scallywag, hood rat sister that just sluck up in here. I want him. Yeah, I want him. That nobody right there. That's the one I want. You need to say, no, sister, I'm still getting myself together. I'm still building myself. If you want me, you're going to wait. She'll wait if she's for you. Read that again.
Her husband is known in the gates when he sitteth among the elders of the land.
What verse you at?
That was 23.
Go ahead.
Hey, Bishop,
Yes.
also, what this shows is that the sister ain't looking to marry an idiot. You understand? She's not looking because, you know, some of you brothers, your mind ain't right. And you tell sisters, listen, the brother mind ain't right, you know, but this also giving you, sister, the guideline in what type of husband you should be looking for. You know, a brother that's laboring in this truth. You know? So that's a key thing right there, man. He's not an idiot.
Exactly. What verse?
Verse 24.
Uh-huh.
She maketh fine linen, and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant.
Come on.
Strength and honor are her clothing, and she shall rejoice in time to come.
So now, from there, go to 1 Timothy. I'm going to precept that, verses 21 through 25. Give me 1 Timothy 2 and 9.
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
Not so fast. No, I'm still going. I'm still trying to get there. Go ahead.
In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Now, I heard a sister interpret modest apparel as sackcloth. No, sister. Modest apparel is not sackcloth looking like. Nobody wants you up in here looking like Harriet Tubman. Nobody wants you up in here looking like Harriet Tubman. Modest apparel simply means cover your assets. Can I say that? Is that a word?
Yeah.
That's a nice word, right?
That's a nice word.
Cover your assets. Meaning we should not see your cleavage. Some sisters have a larger cleavage than other sisters. Cover it up. You cannot wear, sister with a big cleavage, when they get into the dress that the sister with no cleavage wear. You can't wear the same things. You know your nitty cons is big. You got to find a dress that can cover them things. That's the word I made up when I was young. You want the same dress that little girl got with no nitty cons. She all flat-chested. Come on, stop that. Read it again.
In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
So you can look, sisters, you can look good. Cover yourself up. That's all he's saying. Go ahead.
With shamefacedness.
With shamefacedness.
And sobriety.
Oh, that's the word again, sobriety. Let's go back to the meaning of that word, because I forgot what it means. It means, where is that? Did you find it? Yo, so what was it? What was the word? What did it mean? Pragmatic, that's too hard. Common sense.
Serious, grave.
Serious, grave. What else was there? You forgot?
Well, sober. We know that.
I got it right here.
Common sense.
Serious, solemnity, gravity, dignity.
Self-control.
Dignity. Common sense. Practical self-control. Self-restraint. Wow. I like that. Dignity, self-control, and serious. Them 3 words I like. It's easy black words. I know what they mean. So go back again. Read that again.
In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety. Not with braided hair.
Not with braided hair. It's not, and the Seventh-day Adventists say that means women ain't supposed to braid their hair. That's not what it's saying. It's saying don't get your honor because of your hair. Go ahead.
Or gold.
It's not saying women can't wear gold. Paul is saying don't get your honor on the outward woman. That's all he's saying. Go ahead.
Or pearls.
Or pearls.
Or costly array.
Go ahead. Here's the answer.
But which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
He said that's how you women get your honor. With good works. Modesty, you cover yourself up. That's what he's saying. That's all he's saying. From there, give me Judith chapter 10.
I'm about to say, like Judith.
Read Judith chapter 10. And we just want 2 verses, verse 3 and 4.
The book.
Wait, I'm still looking for it. Okay, I'm there now. Go ahead.
The book of Judah, chapter 10, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And pulled off the sackcloth which she had on.
Now, Judith was customary to wearing sackcloth because she was in mourning because her husband Manasseh had died of a heat stroke. He died. So she was in mourning. So now when Israel was in dilemma and because the nations were coming against us, it says she pulled off the sackcloth which she had on. Go ahead.
And put off the garments of her widowhood.
Uh-huh.
And washed her body all over with water.
Y'all know I could stay on that part all day, but I'm not. Go ahead.
And anointed herself with precious ointment.
Mm-hmm. She smelled good. Go ahead.
And braided the hair of her head.
So this is, our sisters braided their hair. Go ahead.
And put on a tire upon it.
She wrapped her hair up. That's what it means by a tire. Go ahead.
And put on her garments of gladness.
And put on her garments of gladness. Go ahead.
Wherewith she was clad during the life of Manasseh, her husband.
So she said, my husband used to love when I wear this dress, this outfit. I'm going to put it on now. This is the time. Go ahead.
And she took sandals upon her feet and put about her bracelets.
She wore her gold. Go ahead.
And her chains.
Next with her pearls. Uh-huh.
And her rings.
Go ahead.
And her earrings.
Mm-hmm.
And all her ornaments. And decked herself bravely.
Uh-huh.
To allure the eyes of all men that should see her.
So she knew how to dress modestly, because she didn't go out like a whore. She dressed modestly, but she knew that what she was wearing, all the men would look at her. She knew her worth. She knew her worth. From there, give me Judith, stay in the same book, go to chapter 8, verse 2 and 7.
The book of Judah, chapter 8, verse 2. And Manasseh was her husband, of her tribe and kindred, who died in the barley harvest.
Read, jump down to 7.
Verse 7. She was also of a goodly countenance, and very beautiful to behold. And her husband Manasseh had left her gold, and silver, and men servants, and maid servants, and cattle, and lands. And she remained upon them.
So was Manasseh, her husband, a bum? Was he a bum? Hey, brothers, was he a bum? No. In order for him to leave this, he had what? He had to have some type of money. He had to have some kinds of smarts. He had to be known. To have money, like when you got money, people know you. You know how it is when you hit the lotto. Everybody calling you. So everybody knew. This goes back to what we read in Proverbs 31, where it said her husband is known in the gates. Judah's husband was well known. And when he died, he was able to leave her all that. So you might be saying, well, I ain't got all of that. Well, get some insurance. Get some life insurance if you want. How about that? From there, give me Judith chapter 16, verse 22.
The book of Judah, chapter 16, verse 22.
Now, these precepts I'm going to still deals with Proverbs 31, verse 21 to 25. So I don't want y'all to get lost. Go ahead.
And many desired her, but none knew her all the days of her life.
Many men desired to marry Judith. Read that again.
And many desired her, but none knew her all the days of her life. After that, Manasseh, her husband, was dead, and was gathered to his people.
You know what's so heavy about that? Manasseh had to be such an honorable and noble man. Judith said, I'm not marrying nobody else. You got to think about it. Now, I'm not saying Betty Shabazz was virtuous, but I am saying this. Her husband was so well known. I'm talking about Malcolm X, El Malik, Shabazz. Who could fill his shoes? What man that she knew at that time could fill the shoes and do the things that he did? The same with Coretta Scott King. I'm not saying she's virtuous, but I am saying her husband was so well known, who, as many men might have wanted to marry her, who could have fit the shoes of MLK? She went from a man up here to some dude down there. That's dishonorable. Read it again.
And many desired her, but none knew her all the days of her life. After that, Manasseh, her husband, was dead, and was gathered to his people.
Read.
But she was increased more and more in honor, and waxed old in her husband's house, being 105 years old, and made her maid free. So she died in Bethulia, and they buried her in the cave of her husband Manasseh.
In the cave of her husband Manasseh. Go ahead.
And the house of Israel lamented her 7 days.
Israel cried for Judah for a whole week. Go ahead.
And before she died, she did distribute her goods to all them that were nearest of kindred to Manasseh, her husband, and to them that were the nearest of her kindred.
So she made sure that before she died, that inheritance, she said, I'm going to leave it to my husband's kinsmen and my nearest kinsmen and women. That's some heavy. Let's go back to Proverbs 31. That's some honor right there. So when we go back now to Proverbs 31, we're in verse 26 and 27 on one. Never idle. The virtuous woman is never idle. When you hear sisters say there's nothing to do, that's a sister who don't want to do nothing. There's always work to do. Are we gathered yet as a nation? Are we gathered yet? No. Are we all, those of us who are gathered, are we perfect yet? No. We're trying to attain that. So there's always something to do. Watch this. Read that.
Proverbs 31, verse 26. She openeth her mouth with wisdom.
Ooh. You ever meet a sister who opens her mouth and you wish she would just shut up? Because when she speak, it's like on a chalkboard. And it's just Tweedledee and Tweedledum. She has some of you brothers, you see that pretty sister, you know she's dumb as a rock. You ask her where's the dietary law found, she goes, Revelation 9. Right. She might say the Book of Mormons. You know she's dumb as a rock. She only here for a man. She ain't interested in the Lord at all. Read that again.
She opened her mouth with wisdom.
She opens her mouth with wisdom. Go ahead.
And in her tongue is the law of kindness.
When the virtuous woman speaks, she's very kind. Some sisters are so mean when she opens her mouth. Oh, she's mean. She's telling you to shut the hell up and move, nigga. Get out of my face. Don't talk to me. She sucks her gums. You don't, but that's the one you want. She's Sasha Fierce. You're going to catch hell. And when you pay that 17%, don't come knocking now. You hear? Because we told you, bro. We told you. Read that again.
She opened her mouth with wisdom.
So you want to find a woman that's, when she speaks, she's wise. She knows things. She knows scriptures. Go ahead.
And in her tongue is the law of kindness.
And when she speaks, she's kind. No matter if you do something dumb. You know a woman can make you feel like a piece of SH. You do something dumb, she should be able, like, you know how when kids do dumb things, how the mama is able to build that child up. You see the child is all depressed. She's able to lift that child's spirit. She's supposed to be able to do that with her husband too. My husband feel bad right now. Let me make him feel good. Some people don't get a woman like that. But that's a true helpmeet right there. That's right. Go ahead.
Bishop, you know, man, how Peter tell Christ that, you have to increase my faith. You know, like I think a lot of sisters have to tell that to get their spirit. Lord, increase my faith. How to be kind. Increase my faith on that.
Teach me how to be kind. And that's what the older women are supposed to teach the younger women, how to be kind. Kindness ain't normal. It ain't natural, especially amongst black people. It's not natural to be kind. Especially in New York. You know what? Let me take that back. Rephrase that. In New York, it's not natural to be kind. You know, like out here in the South, you walk down the street and everybody goes, how you doing? How you doing? How your mama doing? How your grandmama doing? Everybody say hi. Don't do that in New York. What the F you saying hi to me for? What you want? You know me, nigga. My uncle came down saying hi to everybody, and this dude tried to step to my uncle. Yo, you know me? I said, yo, he's just saying hi from down south. Chill out. Oh, okay. Our people is crazy in New York. We uptight, we stressed. We're not nice. Just telling you. So we got to learn how to be nice, how to be kind. Come on, what verse you at, 27?
Yes, sir. She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
She ain't on Facebook all day. She ain't on Twitter, Instagram. She's not idle. She's always about stuff. How can I help these younger sisters do A, B, and C? How can I help my household? How can I help the body? That's where her mind is. Give me the precept for that. And Judith, I love Judith. Judith, give me 8, 28, 29. Judith 8.
The book of Judah,
Chapter 8.
chapter 8, verse 29.
28 and 29.
For this is not the first day wherein thy wisdom is manifested.
Now this is after the elders of Israel was going to give the whole nation up to the enemy. And Judith had came in and said, don't do that. And she began to give a history of the Israelites and how God will fight for us if we obey his word. Now the leaders of Israel, this is their response to her. Verse 28.
Verse 28. Then said Ozias to her, all that thou hast spoken, hast thou spoken with a good heart, and there is none that may gainsay thy word.
So the first thing you want to look at, you can tell when a woman speaks to you out of a good heart, or is there something behind what she's saying? Now she said that she's trying to be slick. Some sisters can talk, and you know she don't mean no harm, she don't mean no evil. She just says something, you know it's wise, and it was right. Read on.
For this is not the first day wherein thy wisdom is manifested.
She had a history of being kind and wise. I want you men to understand that. Look for a sister who has a history of being both kind and wise. That's how Judas was. That's why he said this is not the first day. Read that part again.
For this is not the first day wherein thy wisdom is manifested, but from the beginning of thy days all the people have known thy understanding, because the disposition of thine heart is good.
Because all the wisdom that she had, that she knew, came from a good heart, a good mind. She didn't come with malice, deceit, guile, mean-spiritedness. She never came from that place. That's what made our foremother Judith a virtuous woman. Okay, go back now. No, give me Sirach 33:27. Sirach 33, verse 27.
The book of Sirach, chapter 33, verse 27. Send him to labor.
Send a no good kid to labor.
That he be not idle.
That he what?
That he be not idle.
Now I wanted this precept where it said the virtuous woman is not idle. I wanted this precept, and watch why. Go ahead.
For idleness teacheth much evil.
Your wife sits around watching Atlanta Housewives, Basketball Wives, Sasha Fierce, all of these things. She's doing nothing but learning evil. Then when she speaks to you, when you come home, where'd she get that from? Why'd she acting? She spent her whole day being idle, watching foolishness on TV. Now she's showing you what she learned, and you don't like it. She's been idle. Give her something to do. There's always something to do. Let's go back to Proverbs 31.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verse 27 again.
Give me 28.
Verse
So this next part, 28 to 31, deals with the virtuous woman being friendly. She's a friendly sister. Watch this.
Her children arise up and call her blessed.
See that? And y'all better get that. I'll make that a law in my house. When you kids get up, you're going to salute me and you're going to salute your mama. You ain't just going to walk by us like we ain't there. You got to teach kids that, because they will walk by you. Talk about him downstairs. Read it again.
Her children arise up and call her blessed. Her husband also, and he praiseth her.
Now, brothers, and see, the women highlighted that part right there. Highlight that. He don't praise me. Now, we got to be trained for that thing. Hon, you look lovely tonight. You look very nice. See, why I'm going, the scriptures be cutting me too. You know, I already know what I do and I don't do. The scriptures say, when thou teachest, teachest thou not thyself. So we got to get in that habit. You got to start to praise the woman. Now, you know if your wife can't cook. Don't be praising her with some burnt chicken. I am not praising you for burnt chicken. You burned it. I don't like it. Praise her for good things. Read on.
Verse 29. Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all.
The virtuous woman excels the many daughters who have done virtuously. These many daughters have done virtuously sometimes. The virtuous woman kept those qualities all the time. Go ahead.
Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain.
I'll be telling you, brothers, that favor is deceitful. It says that because some women who ain't right, I'm talking about the local hood rats. That's the sister who flatters you. How handsome you are. How, give me some flatterings they do.
Right.
You teach like Christ. Right. Have you ever heard Christ teach, sister? No. The hell are you talking about then? But she got you thinking you're on Christ's level. And she telling you how many muscles you got. And you know you 400 pounds of blob. Oh. Boy, you 80 pounds of bone. You need to eat some chicken. But she's telling you how many muscles you got. She's telling you how a head full of hair you got. You know you're going bald. But she's flattering you just to get you. She sees you as sucker. I'm going to get him. What kind of job he got? He does such and such, girl. He got benefits? I'm going to get him. Yeah, brother, you so handsome. Look how straight your teeth is. Fine. You know his teeth is all over the place like alien. I just love your eyes. You know one eye goes that way and the other eye go that way. Brother, where did sister go? She went this way. that's why it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. You're just looking at the outward. That's what we just read earlier in 1 Timothy 2:9 about that woman with the outward appearance. Don't just look at that. I'm not saying that's not important, because another scripture says a man loves nothing better than the beauty of a woman. That's fine. But don't let that be the only thing.
Yeah, Bishop, you know that when you say favor, it's deceitful. You remember there was a brother there was a brother in New York. Yeah, he was looking for a sister to get married with, right? One sister who go, you know, man, that expensive food, Bishop, how you call it the expensive food they be selling? I mean, like that's not meat, but they call it
vegan food.
Yeah, vegan food.
Tofu.
Vegan food. Oh. So their sister decided to just feed the brother every time she see the brother, nice salad, everything. But the brother did not choose her. Oh, their sister was mad. Sister angry. Now, why? You know, if you didn't want me, why you take my good salad? Why you take my good food? No, sister, you was doing it in deceitful.
Gotcha. So it says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. Beauty is deceitful. Because everybody, you don't stay that good looking all your life. When you're 25 and 55, there's a difference. I look at my old pictures of me and my wife. We don't look nothing like that no more. We used to look like the number 11 walking down the street. My father-in-law used to laugh at us. We were both skinny as hell. She weighed 120 pounds. I was 118 pounds. He said, I don't know what y'all going to do if y'all get blown down. Who going to pick somebody up? Y'all skinny as hell. Now my belly's all over the place. I know what I look like. You got to tell me. You know what you look like, too. She know what she look like. You get up in age, them perky breasts, they're not perky no more. After they let out their first babies, then the baby's sucking all night. Them things be hanging and flapping in the wind. Favor is deceitful and beauty is vain. That's why you gotta say, Lord, ordain that we grow age together. When you meet a woman or you meet a man, you got a vision. Just mentally look at the person and say, he or she's going to get old. Am I willing to grow old with that person? When the crow's feet come out, I know black don't crack, but on some people, oh yes it does. When the lines set in, the bags set in from eating the bad foods, the back ain't as straight as it once was, are you willing to endure that for the long run? That's what you got to ask yourself. And the hair. Sometimes the hair falls out. You brothers know what I'm talking about. Sisters, you know when you met the dude, he had a head full of hair. Wavy, curly hair. Now he got two bald spots, one in the front, one in the back. And you be looking at him like, what the hell is this? Read that again.
Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain.
You know he used to have must packs. But now he up in age, he got little 32Ds now hanging. He need a bra. Read that again, I'm sorry.
Favor is deceitful, and beauty is vain. But a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised.
That woman shall be praised. Go ahead.
Give her of the fruit of her hands.
Give her of the fruit of her hands. Go ahead.
And let her own works praise her in the gates.
So she also, brothers, had a reputation. That's why it says, give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates. So don't get that do nothing, sister, brother. You want a woman that has reputation in the body. What time is it? I got 30 minutes. Good. Go to Habakkuk 3. So now that I said all that, I want to get to what we all been, well, I've been waiting for, not y'all. But this is what is coming upon the earth. I like to end it with a little fear. A little fear is good sometimes. Put you in perspective. Habakkuk chapter 3, let's start at verse 2. So the sisters want to be saved. Okay, well now you have a criteria on salvation for women. Now, let's go to Habakkuk 3. This is during the time of the Babylonian captivity, the prophet Habakkuk. Start at verse 1.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 1. A prayer of Habakkuk, the prophet unto Shigionoth. O Lord, I have heard thy speech, and was afraid.
Meaning he was reading the scriptures, and when he read the Bible, the scriptures, Habakkuk got afraid. Go ahead.
O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years.
Wait. Revive thy work in the midst of the years. Go ahead.
Revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known. In wrath, remember mercy.
Let's find out what that revive the work in the midst of the years is. Give me Psalms 85, verse 6. Revive thy work in the midst of the years. Let's see what it's saying.
The book of Psalms, chapter 85, verse 6. Wilt thou not revive us again, that thy people may rejoice in thee?
You see that? Wilt thou not revive us again? Right now, what y'all looking at, men and women, we're being revived. All of us in this room, at the sound of my voice, we are being revived. That's the spirit of life from God entering into them, and they stood upon their feet, a great exceeding army. Go back to Habakkuk 3, please. Verse 2 once again.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 2. O Lord, I have heard thy speech and was afraid. O Lord, revive thy work in the midst of the years. In the midst of the years, make known.
Make known who your people are. That's what's happening now. This is why the Christians want to come against us. The so-called Jews were good. Let them come. They all going to fall. Every one of them. Go ahead.
In wrath, remember mercy.
And in God's wrath, we all ask him, please remember mercy. We're here celebrating the Feast of Tabernacles. We want the Lord to remember mercy upon us. Go ahead.
God came from Teman, and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Selah.
Selah is like another word for amen, or it is true. Go ahead.
His glory covered the heavens.
Now this verse 3, this is what Habakkuk saw in a vision. He said, God there is Christ, came from Teman and the Holy One from Mount Paran. Go ahead.
His glory covered the heavens.
His glory covered the heavens. Go ahead.
And the earth was full of his praise.
Go ahead.
And his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power.
Now watch this. Some of your Bibles, you have that number 10 next to the word horns. Anybody got a number there? Next to horns. What does it say? What does it say?
It says bright beams out of his side.
Bright beams. That's where you get these Avengers, X-Men. They got that from the Bible. They saw, Habakkuk saw Christ coming, throwing beams of light from his hand, which was destruction. Hold that. Give me Matthew 24, 29 to 31. Watch this.
Book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Read.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
Because when we see him, we're going to cry. Go ahead.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Stop there. Let's go back to Habakkuk. That's saying the same thing. Habakkuk 3, let's start at verse 4 again.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 4. And his brightness was as the light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power.
When it says there was the hiding of his power, I mean he had to hold power back. Remember, y'all got to realize who Christ is. Remember, he said, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. Proverbs 8, Christ says, I was the beginning of all creation. He said, I was brought forth by the Father before the earth ever came into existence. So that's why in John chapter 1, I can't quote too good. It says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Meaning he was the first of the creations of the Father. That's why he calls him God. That's why here in Habakkuk it says, God came from Teman. It's referring to Christ. Let's go back to Habakkuk. What verse you at?
Verse 5.
Go ahead.
Before him went the pestilence, and the burning coals went forth at his feet.
Destruction. Fire. Go ahead.
He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations.
He beheld and drove asunder the nations. Hold on. Go back to Matthew 24 now. Give me that part about the powers of heaven. That's the nations.
Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven.
Meaning the satellites. That's what it's going into. Go ahead.
And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
That's what I wanted. The powers of heaven shall be shaken. Talking about war on the earth. War. The nations fighting one another. Let's go in more detail. Go back to Habakkuk 3.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 6. He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow.
That's talking about big nations and small nations. Go ahead.
His ways are everlasting.
Watch this. Go ahead.
I saw the tents of Cushan in affliction.
Well, y'all got a number there. Cushan says Ethiopia. Christ coming back, he going to jack up Ethiopia. Go ahead.
And the currents of the land of Midian did tremble.
The Midianites, over there where the Arabs are, he's going to jack them up too, so they're going to tremble. The land of Midian did tremble. Go ahead.
Was the Lord displeased against the rivers?
Now you see it says rivers there. The rivers are still, I'm going to prove what I'm saying. The rivers is making reference to Midian, Cushan, and in verse 6 where it says, drove asunder the nations. That's what the rivers is making reference to. Here's the proof. Get Isaiah 17, verse 12 and 13. Isaiah 17, verse 12 and 13. Here's the proof.
Isaiah chapter 17, verse 12. Woe to the multitude of many people, which make a noise like the noise of the sea.
See that? It's comparing people to the seas here. Go ahead.
And to the rushing of nations, that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters.
See, it's comparing the nations to the rushing of mighty waters. Go ahead.
The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but God shall rebuke them.
That's what we're reading in Habakkuk. But God shall rebuke them. Go ahead.
And they shall flee far off, and shall be chased as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind.
Let's go back to Habakkuk now. Verse 8 again.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 8. Was the Lord displeased against the rivers?
So the rivers again, so you don't forget, was Midian, Cushan, the nations. Go ahead.
Was thine anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea, that thou didst ride upon thine horses and thy chariots of salvation? Thy bow was made quite naked, according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word, Selah.
Stop. Let's see what it means by thy bow was made quite naked. Give me Zechariah 9 and 13. Zechariah chapter 9 and verse 13. Thy bow was made. A bow was a weapon of war.
Zechariah chapter 9, verse 13. When I bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man.
So according to the oaths of our fathers, God is going to bend Judah and Ephraim and make them as weapons of war. That's clear in the Bible. So when you go back to Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 9 again.
Verse 9, Habakkuk 3 verse 9. Thy bow was made quite naked, according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word.
So according to the oaths of the tribes of Israel, there's war coming. War, God is going to raise up the 12 tribes of Israel against Esau, against the Greeks. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
Selah. Thou didst cleave the earth with rivers.
Go ahead.
The mountains saw thee, and they trembled.
The great nations saw thee and trembled. Go ahead.
The overflow of the water passed by. The deep uttered his voice and lifted up his hands on high.
Let's let you know the channels of rivers will be split open when Christ comes. There's going to be so much power on this. He brings to this earth, the rivers, the oceans, the seas will split open. Go ahead.
The sun and moon stood still in their habitation. At the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear.
See, notice it says, at the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear. Give me Jeremiah 50 and 25. Jeremiah 50 and 25.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 25. The Lord had opened his armory.
See that? The Lord has an armory of weapons. Go ahead.
And have brought forth the weapons of his indignation.
All these missiles that this man has created on the earth, the Lord hasn't created for his will. Read the verse again.
The Lord hath opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation.
His hatred, his anger. Go ahead.
For this is the work of the Lord God of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans.
In the land of Babylon. That's this place right here. So let's go back to Habakkuk 3 and 11.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 11. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation. At the light of thine arrows they went, and at the shining of thy glittering spear.
That's those missiles being shot all across the planet. And they're going to be shot at Christ too. Go ahead.
Thou didst march through the land in indignation.
Because when he come back, he ain't playing with the people. Give me that in Isaiah 66:15, I think it is. That indignation.
Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury.
That's that indignation. Go ahead.
And his rebuke with flames of fire.
Uh-huh.
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
And the slain of the Lord shall be. He's going to do a lot of killing. Christ is coming back to do a lot of killing. So when we talk about salvation for sisters, get yourselves right before it's too late. Let's go back to Habakkuk. And although I point out this, it goes for us brothers too. But today was their day.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 13.
Read 12 again.
Verse 12. Thou didst march through the land in indignation.
So Christ ain't coming back kissing nobody, hugging nobody, giving flowers to nobody. He's coming back with indignation. That's wrath. Go ahead.
Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger.
He's going to kill the nations in anger. Go ahead.
Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people.
So, you mean the church never read this? He's not coming for everybody. He's coming for the salvation of his people. Give me that in Isaiah 45:17. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people. That ain't all people.
Isaiah chapter 45, verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord.
That's right.
With an everlasting salvation.
With an everlasting salvation. Go ahead.
Ye shall not be ashamed, nor confounded, world without end.
We are the world without end. Let's go back now to Habakkuk 3:13 once again.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 13. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for salvation with thine anointed.
Even for salvation with thine anointed. That's Christ. You see that? Christ and the angels. Read.
Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked.
Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked. Go ahead.
By discovering the foundation unto the neck.
What is he saying? He's going to cut the head off the enemy. Who's the head? Give me Isaiah 34 and verse 5. Who is he coming back to cut with that sword? Cut the head from the body.
The book of Isaiah chapter 34, verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
That's Edom. Idumea is the Greco-Roman word for Edomites. Mainly the United States of America. This is the head of them. America, if you didn't know it, is the head of all the European powers. Go ahead.
And upon the people of my curse.
And they're the people of God's curse. Go ahead.
To judgment.
To judgment. Give me, go back to Habakkuk.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse
13 again.
13. Thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, even for salvation with thine anointed. Thou warnest the head out of the house of the wicked, by discovering the foundation unto the neck, Selah.
All praises. It is true. Go ahead.
Thou didst strike through with his staves the head of his villages.
You're going to kill the head of his villages. Go ahead.
They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me.
So Christ is saying the nation's going to come out like whirlwinds to try to scatter me. Go ahead.
They're rejoicing.
Wait, pause there before we read that next one. Give me 2nd Esdras 13 and 33 as a precept. 2nd Esdras 13, and let's read 33 down.
2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 33.
When it says it came out to scatter me, this is the precept for that.
And the time shall be when these things shall come to...
2nd Ezra 13,
Oh, I'm sorry, that was
33.
33, I'm sorry. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle. They have one against another.
Stop. Remember what we read in Matthew 24:29, where it says the powers of heavens shall be shaken. And I said that's the nation's going. When Christ returns, is it going to be wartime? Because the nations will have been fighting one another for some time. War will have already started. So here in verse 33 again.
And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle. They have one against another.
They're going to stop fighting each other. Why? Read.
And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting.
These nations going to join together. That's why you look at that movie, Independence Day. Remember the nations were at odds with each other? Then the aliens came. And they said, hey, we need to join together to fight them. Right. So you had the Arabs, you had the Chinese, you had Africa, you had everybody joining against the aliens. That's from the Bible. All that's from the scriptures. And guess what? Will Smith is not coming to punch the aliens in the face. They're not going to have a cold and sneeze and they destroy. That ain't happening. Read that again.
And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion.
Stop. Let's go back to Habakkuk 3 and verse 14.
Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 14. Thou didst strike through with his staves the head of his villages. They came out as a whirlwind to scatter me. Their rejoicing was as to devour the poor secretly.
That's heavy. Christ is coming to save us. He knows the secret plots against our people. We don't know. Oh, we're awesome. You know about the King Alfred program, my brother? There's more insidious plots against us. Food, hair products, some of the things we wear. There's so many plots against us to destroy the money system that's set up. There's so many secret plots to destroy us. And if the Lord showed us, it would make our heads spin. Why many of us are having heart attacks at young ages and all of that. And all these things are secret plots, the foods that they put in our communities. Okay? Their rejoicing was as to devour the poor secretly. The medicines they give us. The vaccines they give it to children. To devour the poor secretly. Give me Isaiah 29:15. I just want 15. There's so many. Go ahead. What is that?
Some people might not, when I say vaccines, people might be saying, well, everybody gets vaccines. You remember there was a story, I'm trying to remember exactly when it happened. It was a situation where there was vaccines that was supposed to be delivered to two parts. And it got reversed.
Right.
And it was the exact, quote unquote, it was the exact same medicine. But because a vaccine that was meant for Area A went to B, they made a big uproar. You remember
there was
that?
a brother doing the delivery.
Exactly.
Allegedly, it was the same vaccine.
Same vaccine.
He dropped one in the white community and then one in the black community. And they said, hey, you got the log numbers mixed up. Right. He was like, the brother was like, it's the same vaccine. They said, hey, go switch them. Put the one over A, go to A, B, go to B. Let me know it's not the same.
Y'all hear that?
It's not the same. You got that, Cat?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 15. Woe unto them that seek thee to hide their counsel from the Lord.
See, there's so many counsels that Esau tries to hide against us. It would be shocking. Christ, the Lord said, woe unto them that seek thee to hide their counsel from the Lord. Go ahead.
And their works are in the dark.
Their work is in the dark. They don't go openly and say, we're trying to exterminate you, children. They don't say that. It's in the dark. All the things that they're doing is in secret. Was that it?
No, sir. And they say, who seeth us?
Who's going to believe it even if you hear about it? This is why they call this place Mystery Babylon the Great. It's the mystery because you would never believe it. They love us. America loves us. Okay, all right. They love us. All right. Go back. Habakkuk 3, we're at 15.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 3, verse 15. Thou didst walk through the sea with thine horses.
Meaning thou just walk through the nations with thine chariots. That's what it's going into.
Through the heap of great waters.
Again, those great waters, like we read earlier in Isaiah 17, 12, and 13, are nations. Go ahead.
Verse 16. When I heard, my belly trembled.
I want y'all to know, we read this as pages in a book, words on a page. The prophet Habakkuk said, when he heard about what the Lord is going to do, he says, my belly trembled. Go ahead.
When I heard, my belly trembled. My lips quivered at the voice.
His lips quivered. That's total fear. Because we think it's going to be a happy day. When the Lord come back, it's going to be a day of darkness and destruction. Go ahead.
Rottenness entered into my
Because
bones.
he saw so much killing. Habakkuk saw so much killing, death, and destruction. He said, rottenness entered my bones. Go ahead.
And I trembled in myself.
And I trembled in myself. Go ahead.
That I might rest in the day of trouble.
You know what that means? He says he wants to be dead and at rest when Christ returns. I don't want to be alive when he come back. That's how horrible the day is. That's why in Amos, remember it says in Amos, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. So what end is it for you? Because we think it's going to be all happy. Like Psalms 91, where it says 1,000 shall fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand. That means those that are alive at that day is going to be, imagine, a thermonuclear blast, and you feel the heat coming, and you think the Lord forgot you, and the second it's burning your flesh, he saves you. That's how terrible it's going to be on that day. You ever have them dreams you think the Lord forgot? Lord, look out, he got me. I'll be having them dreams like, but Habakkuk said that's how it's going to be. Yes, of course.
And when you think about how the prophets, because the Most High, like he says, I think it's in Hebrews, one of the scriptures where he says, God in sundry times and in diverse manners spake unto the prophets. Then in many different, with diverse manners, meaning showed them in dreams. Hebrews 1. Like that. Can they give me Peter 1 and 20? I think it is. 1 and 21. 2 Peter 1:21. So you can get an idea of what Habakkuk was dealing with. When he says that when he saw it, he trembled. Rottenness entered into, you read that, right? Rottenness entered into his bones and all that.
2 Peter chapter 1, verse 21. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man.
No, man didn't write this. This is the Most High is doing this, and the angels. Go ahead.
But holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost.
As they were what?
As they were moved by the Holy Ghost.
So the Holy Spirit was putting HD television in their mind so they could see it. That's what scared them to death. Imagine seeing things in those days when they didn't have nothing like that at all. Just think about Habakkuk, seeing what he's seeing what he's writing down, and there was nothing physically that he could match it to. That'll make you faint. That's some heavy stuff there. Some heavy stuff. Think about the other prophets that saw people's bodies burn up while their skeleton is still standing. Before gravity had a chance to pull your skeleton to the ground. He sees that. Think about Malachi, that experience of time period when it shall feel like an oven. You standing in an oven. He had the Most High put heat in his mind. They could feel that thing. That's how he was able to write it down. That's it, Bishop.
Go back to Habakkuk 3. We almost done. 3 and 16 again.
Book of Habakkuk chapter 3, verse 16. When I heard, my belly trembled. My lips quivered at the voice. Rottenness entered into my bones, and I trembled in myself, that I might rest in the day of trouble. When he cometh up unto the people, he will invade them with his troops.
That's where all these alien movies come from. That's why Ronald Reagan, y'all can Google it when you get a chance. Ronald Reagan set up the Star Wars program where they put missiles around the earth. He said there may come a day where Russia and America will have to join together to fight outside invaders. Why they say that? The Bible. So we need to stop thinking the Bible's a fairy tale. It's not a fairy tale. This is why President Trump, he says what did he say? He wants a space program of cadets able to fly out in space to fight anything that comes from without.
Anything that come right. Those are not aliens out there. They made you.
Exactly.
Those are not aliens. The only alien on this planet is Esau. He's an alien. Then they're gonna get a Negro talking about fighting the aliens. He gonna punch the angels in the face when they land.
So see that part? He will invade them with his troops. Get 2nd Ezra 13:29. Here's the precept. 2nd Ezra 13. Let's start at 29 and read that.
2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 29. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth.
This is what we all want, men and women. Remember what it said for women? She shall be saved in childbearing if. There's some heavy stuff there. Go ahead.
Verse 30. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another. One city against another. One place against another. One people against another. And one realm against another. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass. And the sign shall happen which I shewed thee before. And then shall my son be declared.
That's Christ. Go ahead.
Whom thou sawest is a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them, willing to come, and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come, and shall be shewed to all men.
That's that strange deliverance. Us. Go ahead.
Being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations.
So all their missiles, all of the deadly things that you really see them be making these weapons and all that, strange weapons. Anti-matter guns and all that. He said he's going to rebuke all of that. Go ahead.
Which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts.
He's going to open up to them all the evil that they've done. Go ahead.
And the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented,
Go ahead.
which are like unto a flame. And he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto fire.
Now that's some heavy stuff right there. So all praises to the Most High. Y'all had something to add to that? Y'all had something y'all wanted to add? All right, so giving all praises to the Lord. I pray you brothers and sisters glean something from today's class. I pray you did. All praises.
Now they will see the true men of God. We are not black men, we are Israelites. Take care of us, and our children too. We have repented. How about you? People want to know who's the king.
O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father. O nation of Israel, it's time to return to the Father.
Now why they trying to make it so hard to serve God? And why when I say that I'm a Jew, it sound odd? For years I've been walking around saying that I'm a black man. I ain't saying that no more.
Shalom. This is Bishop Nathanyel of Israel United in Christ. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels. Stay up to date with our latest events, music, and classroom lessons. IUIC plans to continue visiting different countries where this gospel has not been preached before. IUIC needs your help in pushing this truth. So join us. Subscribe to our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and podcast, and stay up to date with us. For more information, please visit www.israelunite.org.